Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Etheria podcast. I'm Marcus, and I'm joined by my co host Ilka.
Hello, everyone.
And Ilka today is a bit sick, or he's recovering from being sick, so I think he's not going to be as energetic as usual. But we will still bring you an episode before release here.
Yeah, we promised, and also, I'm a bit sick still, but I'm so hyped for the release of the game, so I still wanted to do this.
Yeah, it's currently, as recording this, it's about 25 hours before the release of the game.
Yeah, let's switch
And
over to the Predwin tab. You can see the countdown here.
all
One
right.
day, 1 hour, 10 minutes. Yeah, we're close.
Yes, we are getting very close. And today the topic has been requested from a friend of ours to just discuss about PvP synergies and units, like different things you could think about doing. More theory crafting type of video than or talk more than anything. Just stuff you could try and stuff that theoretically could work very well together or actually have worked well together from what we've seen and tested.
Yeah,
I think that is the main and only topic today, so all
yeah.
about the PvP.
We have done this a bit in our first podcast, but I guess we'll try and go more in depth today with like more uh, tips and maybe um,
More about the units, I would
yeah,
say.
more about
That
the
was the
units.
request. So.
Yeah.
And I could really just kick it off because with we just had like a day or two ago of recording this, the patch notes, and one
Yeah.
of my favorite units for a slower type of PvP team was Rahu in the beta, and he got quite a bit of a buff. Like his general just increase to stats and everything, or modifiers in his skills is kinda nuts. Do you have Pridewin available for to see the actual changes?
I think they should have updated Pride one. Yeah.
Yeah, do they actually show the old stats? Because I don't remember on top of my head
They
what the actual
don't.
buffs were.
Oh yeah, they do. They
Ah,
do.
okay, they do, yeah.
Yeah, he got buffed by 30% on his skill one, as you can see here. He went from
Yes,
320 of his defense to 350.
yes, he used the damage increase on the skill 1, but I believe he also scales more with skill 2 and skill 3, like he gets more defense overall.
Does he?
He's just, I think he got buffed on all
Oh
three
yeah,
skills, if I remember
his
correctly.
passive his wrath got buffed by 1%. That's right. His
Yeah, which
passive
is,
wrath that he stacks up used to do 4% defense for each stack. Now it does 5, which looks to be very little, but is actually like if you start stacking it up, it can stack up like every 4 stacks you get a bonus one basically. Or is it 5? I mean,
I
whatever.
mean, yeah,
I am
you get
I
an extra for
yeah.
every 4 stacks, yes,
I would
that
use
is
my
true.
sickness as an excuse for not being able to do maths. Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much he's just getting a bigger bonus to his main skill, and his whole kit is around like attacking with your allies, and just stacking that with the wrath and stacking his defense. So just getting the 30% on his skill 1 is increasing his damage quite a lot. Then you also increase his defense with his passive, so you're just increasing the damage even more because it's like double dipping now because you always have the stacks from starting the game, and if it takes a turn he gets the defense buff and 3 stacks from his ultimate as well, and that's just stacking his damage insanely now with this increase to skill one's actual yeah, modifier to the damage. So I think he's going to be a very good unit for anyone that want to play a bit slower. Like pair him up with people that can take a lot of turn. You can
Yeah.
stack his wrath up quite quickly with. If you don't do like attacks, you have a higher chance to actually stack his wrath. And if you don't buff or if you do an attack skill, it's like every 4th action that's taken, you get a stack. So you can really use him with healers. He can be your only single target damage dealer and pretty much just nuke things. It's a very slow type of gameplay, but it works
Mm,
very well
yeah, if you
with
want to use
everything.
him, like he's very flexible in what you want to use him with, but you have to be careful since you're playing slow that you don't get like out-tempoed by the other composition. Like say they get some CC character and some turn push characters and you don't have any ways to like immune him. I guess you can have the bulwark set for the first turn, but then after the first turn you will still need some way to protect him from getting stunned, say, or like for example, if the enemy comp has characters like Kraken or Mio, the new character even, or like I don't know any other character that pushes or stops you from moving. Like if he's stunned, he won't attack with your other characters, or if he's frozen. Or if he's asleep, for example, with characters like Valerian, for example, like so, just be careful that he doesn't get CC too hard and get some dispelling if needed, so that he can do his thing. Since you're gonna be slower, you're not gonna have as many chances to attack with him. So if he gets crowd control to death, yeah, it is not gonna work.
Yeah, that's exactly like one of the points overall in PvP. Because if you don't, the main focus is when you do a special RTA is not to get out drafted. Because if you are going for a slower team, but you don't actually have bulwarks to get immunity turn one, and you have no way of like cleansing with a Linglo or a Sanya or something like that, you're probably just not taking a turn ever in that match and just dying. So like it's very good to really step back a bit and think about what are the enemy picking, what am I picking, and if you lose, like try to rewatch your replay because I believe we had that feature in the beta.
Yeah, yeah, we do, we do.
Yeah. So just like if you do lose a match, sure it could just be someone has outgeared you because you were playing more casual, for example. It's gonna be a difference in the beginning before like the super hard pushers and whales. Not that the whales get too much stats over us, like the non-whales, but it still will be a difference. So the first few days might be a bit unbalanced, but as soon as they push up and like the longer we go, it's gonna balance out a bit more. And then it's good to, if you actually lose a match, don't think they just wailed more or something like that, because you can win with less stats if you just play your draft perfectly. So just go back of the match, go to the replay, like try to look what they pick, what you pick, and see like, okay, why did I lose the draft? And
Yeah,
if you didn't lose the draft, you actually think you won the draft, yeah, then it might be the stats.
yeah. But also, like, if you have anyone else that plays and you can talk to them as well. Like try to get different perspective because it's really hard to analyze your own mistakes. I guess that's not possible for everyone, but if you have the chance, like try and discuss it because it can help. Like if you are really in doubt, I guess if you like think you know, then you probably do. But try and like even like just getting someone else's perspective can give you a lot of insight on how to fix your account issues or your drafting issues or anything else. One thing that's really important is that, like losing, you have to know how to lose as well as how to win to get good at PvP games. Like, for example, I might lose to a certain character when I think I won the draft, and then I realize that my gear could be improved to deal with certain situations that arise and that might be able to, like for example, I could have won that draft if I had different gear, but with this gear I couldn't, so I know how to fix. Like this isn't probably hard to apply the first week of the game because you won't have a lot of gear, so you won't have that much gear to spare for fixing all of your characters around. But even like noticing, like for example, as we said with Rahu, maybe you would need Bulwark to immunize him for the first turn. So since he's slow, then you're sure that he's gonna act either last or close to last. So he can go over all of your opponent character's turn while still leaving through them and not getting crowd control to death. And then take a turn and do whatever he wants to do and start his combo round. Like it's really important that you pinpoint the singular like I mean, not the singular problem that your team has, but like the overall issues that your comp has, and try to fix them for the next matches. Like improving is the most important thing. It doesn't matter how much you win or how much you lose. It matters how much you improve game to game and how much better you become at drafting and realizing what goes well against what goes good with what for your comp, if that makes sense.
Yeah, to me it makes sense, and it's also like I said, it's very hard to be self-critic. Like if you lose a match, it's very easy to think, oh, they just spent more money, and that's that. You never look at your actual flaws in your draft, for example, because it's very easy to get sidetracked about how you think, because you know that there are ways to pay in the game, get ahead in some ways, even though it's not as bad as other games. So it's very easy to just go to that thought immediately instead of thinking, oh wait, I might have lost because I drafted just a simple example, I drafted a red character into a blue character, and that might just have been, like my DPS was red and their main threat was blue.
Like,
It can be that easy to lose a match like that.
yeah, if you draft a red DPS into Tiamat, then you're asking for it. Like,
Exactly.
unless you're banning the Tiamat, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, and there's also one other thing. I usually have a very good win rate in PvP, but I suffer from something else, which is ladder anxiety for
Yeah.
most of ranked games, and that's also a thing that makes me lose games. Because as soon as I get on a good win streak, I stress about like winning more than having fun, and then I lose because pretty much just fuck up my draft because of the anxiety. And that's something that usually gets to me. That's my weak point, and that's something I need to work on. And that's for all games pretty much. Like I played a lot of Tekken 8 and card games and stuff like that, and I have the problem in all of them. As soon as it's going well, I feel like it shouldn't happen,
Yeah.
and just ruin it for myself.
Yeah, my problem with PvP games is that I'm usually mm, very tilt prone and very self-critical as well. Like I tend to, I don't know, like be too hard on myself, which again, keep as a reminder, like we say this every episode, I feel like, but this is a game. Like you don't have to win every game. You don't have, as long as you're having fun, like you're playing the game right. Like you don't have, unless you wanna like do the tournament, the you wanna participate in the Etheria World Cup. Like in that case, winning is important. But unless you're trying to do that, which not many I think are going to, since the slots are very limited, it's like take it at your pace, like improve at your pace. Like everyone is starting out. Some people might have a better grasp of the situation at the start. Some people might have a worse grasp of the situation. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much you win. It matters how much fun you have with the game. Even if you're like winning every game, but you are trying too hard and you don't have fun with the game, you're just stressing out about it too much. It's not gonna end up well for you because you might just eventually quit the game because you're not enjoying it anymore. Like you're seeing it as a job, as it happens to many people in other competitive games such as like League of Legends or games like that, where you start seeing the game more as a job. Like I have to win, I have to rank up. You really don't. Like in this game, even less so. Like you don't have to rank up to get the rewards. There's nothing that's. I mean, there are some things that are behind some ranks, but they're like pretty low ranks that you will eventually get by even with negative win rates probably. So don't stress too much about it. Like you will get there. Don't worry. Just take your time, learn the game, learn the comps, learn what works against what, as we are saying, and don't stress too much about it. Don't ruin the game for yourself by over stressing over it.
But also, this was a small side discussion, I think. So let's go back to
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
team
yeah.
comps. I think it's still worth to point out like the things we said there, because a lot of people just think about, oh, you're bad if you're not win 90% of your matches because you saw your content creator do it, for example. And no, it's like it's all about RNG, who you face up against, and content creator can also have people that concede because they like the content creator. I'm not sure how much that happens, but I've seen it happen a few times.
Yeah,
So
and also
just
content
keep that
creator
in mind.
have so much time to play the game that
Yeah, that's what.
they're gonna learn way more than you are going to, because they don't have to work a different job. Like they don't have to, or rather they do have maybe a family or something else, but their job is literally playing the game. So they
Yeah,
have so much more time to learn and improve at the game, and so much more budget to spend on the game as well, because it's their job. So yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so with that said, team comps again and synergy. I have a very interesting one because I know Doki Doki has fallen off a bit in the like meta LD units. Before the beta, she was like the hot stuff pretty much, and afterwards everyone wants like Lily Heinrich over Doki now.
Yeah.
And for those who would get Doki Doki on release, I would say if you get Axiada as well, the Fox Lady, I think you will be able to have a lot of fun with a slower team with her, like a bruiser team. Because Xiada got a very nice buff, and her whole gimmick is she needs a lot of like buffs on her to evolve her flames,
Yeah.
and then she can pretty much just keep using her ultimate like every turn, and it has a defense break. It has with full stacks, I think it deals over 500% damage or something like that
Deals
in like
490% damage with full stacks,
or
I think,
90%, yeah, and
which
it's
is
like in
one of the
different hits.
highest. And this is AoE.
It's AoE on a 1 turn cooldown, and it defense break on the first attack, and then it does 3 more attacks for like 90% damage.
Yeah.
That then scales with the defense break if they already didn't have it. And the thing is, Doki Doki does so many buffs on her skills, and it actually triggers like
Her
Seada's
skill
passive.
too, yeah.
Yes,
It procs
so
it a lot, yeah.
you can pretty much get 2 stacks with 1 skill from Doki Doki. So that's a good thing to keep in mind if you want PvP, want a more like still fast, but you don't care about turn 1 type of team, and then you can just stack up your Xiada and nuke. This is like if you do get Doki Doki, consider Xiada as a alternative for your PvP. I think she's going to be they are a very good combo together.
Yeah, the most
And of
important
course,
thing about building Shada is that you want the game to go long. So you probably need a healer at least, or a couple of
yeah.
healers. Like you don't care about any more damage than what she brings. She has all the damage you need. You just need her to ramp up. So you don't want to have
Yeah,
like
and
double DPS, but I guess it's
you
gonna be
will need
hard.
that.
Yeah, you will need that because otherwise she will get banned if you only have her as a DPS. But like, yeah.
But you can also use a Rahu that we
Ah,
talked
yeah,
about
yeah.
before is as the secondary DPS because he still works in the same type of team where you just want to out sustain and just nuke
Yeah, for sure. He
everyone
also gives
eventually.
defense up to your team, so
Yeah, Mexiada also gets more stacked thanks to that buff if you don't have it. So
and gives her
Uh,
defensive prowess so that she can resist
yes,
more.
and also one more thing to talk about if you want to play her in a team like that. She has with her passive or second skill, she increases her attack by quite a lot. I think it's
18% per
54.
stack. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
54.
54% at max. So it's pretty much a maxed out attack module at mythical rarity. They give you 50% if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and also
So
gives you 30% crit damage.
yeah, so it's pretty much you just get one attack percent module for free. So consider using an HP percentage instead on her if you want to build her for a longer bruiser comp instead of the nuke comp. So
Yeah,
like just switching one module makes her less, a bit less damage, but a lot more tanky.
yeah.
And
I
that's
feel like
pretty much what you would
the
want.
it should be like if you want to play Shiada, you might want to test her around. Like you might get away with one less attack module. You might even get away with two less attack module if you can get her to leave and then stack up her attack. Like the most important thing is that she lives until she has the full buff and then she starts unleashing and dealing so much damage. But if she doesn't live, then it's like if your Shiada dies, then don't panic. It's like, okay, my Shiada is dead. She's not working. The character is sucks. No, it doesn't. Just try and build her different. Like if you build her with 3 HP modules and she still dies, then she probably needs some defensive prowess, I guess. But she probably won't if you build her super tanky. So I guess limit test with her, like test what works and what doesn't, and don't like stress too much if she dies. Okay, she has 1 defensive module and 2 attack modules. She died to the opponent burst. Okay, is that something that I could fix with my other characters, or is that something that I need to fix on her? This is the way you should be thinking to improve at the game. It's like, is it a gear issue on the character, or is it a comp issue that is wrong? Like, is my opponent's comp? Did I let something through that I shouldn't have? Or did I pick something that doesn't work well with her? Like, for example, if you have, say, I don't know, something that Gray, for example, Gray applies defense down, but she also applies defense down. Do you really need both defense down? Maybe I shouldn't have picked Ravy there. Like the crit chance might be worth having, but like you don't need the 2 defense down. So yeah, count your like. What I'm trying to say is try to understand what the real problem is. Don't fixate on I lose with this character, so this character is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you use a comp, let's say a cleave comp, for example, and you use Messiah, and then instead you pick Siada because you don't have Messiah, then it's not going to be the same thing because
Yeah.
Messiah don't need a defense break and he deals like a neutral element damage to everything. So you cannot just take a comp and try to like just replace one unit because all units need different type of support to work.
Yeah. And one thing that I was gonna say and I forgot, but I guess we should talk about is the fact that there's so many like Fridwin does this, but other content creators do this as well sometimes, in where like there's recommended comps for PvP. Those might work for the PvE PvP if you get the point. Is like the PvP where you just choose your team and go against AI opponents. But in RTA, you cannot like say I want this comp and go for that comp every game because there's an opponent who's peaking as well and who's banning characters. Like you cannot always get what you want. So you should be more focusing on the pairing of characters and some other concepts as well. Like for example, if you only have one DPS character picked in your 5 character picks and your opponent bans it if it's not in the safe slot, and the safe slot you will only unlock in Diamond Plus, so you won't have it until you're Diamond. If you pick your DPS in a non-safe slot, it means your opponent can ban it and then you don't have a DPS. Is that something you want? It might be, depending on what you're going for, but it might also, like, don't forget that if you don't have a DPS, how are you gonna kill the opponent's units? Like, you cannot always outlast the opponent units, and the game works where there's a sort of a end game mechanic where if the game lasts too long, the healing starts to be reduced, the shielding starts to be reduced. Like you cannot outlast your opponent and slowly hit them to death. If they have DPS when the healing starts being reduced, then you're probably gonna lose. So try and you should always have at least a couple of DPS if you're going for a regular comp there, or nothing weird, I guess. Like so that you, if one gets banned, the other one is available. Unless again you have one that's protected and they cannot ban it. So yeah, like these notions are really important. Like pick characters in couples, like choose couples that work well together, and then your comp should also work well together. But the important thing is that like you should not select a comp. And again, like if you choose a comp that you want to go for, what if your opponent has a counter for it? Like if you don't change your plans at all, like and he counters you, like what are you gonna do? Like you're playing into a counter because you just went for the comp that website X or content creator Y said was a good comp, and then the opponent knows how to counter that, and then you're never gonna win, and you're gonna be like, but this content creator or this website said this comp is good for PvP, but this is not working. Why is it not working? Am I bad at the game? No, you're just copying something without realizing why it is used and why it works like that and when to use it and when not to use it, if that makes sense.
Yes, it works for some type of content, for example, normal arena. Like
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
literally, you see what you're going up against, you can pick your team beforehand. Like you can pretty much plan ahead, but yeah, don't follow everything
yeah. And
blindly.
I mean, even in a regular arena, right? If you go against a comp that straight up counters what the website said, like the website said use this in arena, but the opposing comp is just a straight up counter, like you're gonna lose. Like it doesn't work. Like you have to make up comps that work against the opponent comps. Like they're like don't just straight up copy comps is what I'm trying to say. Like try to realize if there's a some description about them, like try to realize why they're used like this, or why and who to use them against. Like don't just straight up copy stuff, because that's never gonna work in a like PvP games. Like there's always a chance that the opponent or even the AI like just straight up destroys your team because it just works. Their team works better against yours than the opposite.
Yeah. And also, I will stress another point you talked about. You said DPS, and just to clarify this, you don't need a Leon, a Messiah, a Xiada, a Rosa type of DPS. A DPS can also be a Veronica, a Rahu,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
anything that just with the game. Like if you go for the slower sustain team with healers and stuff like that, and you have Xiada, for example, but she gets banned. Like if you have a Veronica, you can pretty much just kill the enemies eventually as well, because
yeah,
deals true damage based on her HP. And if they don't have much sustain, she's a perfect damage healer, which can
yeah.
also like steal their buffs.
And
So
again, like for example, Veronica works really well against Rahu in my opinion, because for one, you steal his defense up and you give it to your whole team, and for two, she deals true damage. So Rahu's defense doesn't matter. Rahu will stack defense
yes,
and not have that high HP. So your HP true damage will go straight through his defense and just hit him super hard because he doesn't have that much HP.
yes. So those things are very important to think about as well. It's not just because Pride Win, for example, they categorize things as DPS, but other people that are supports can also deal a lot of damage. For
Yeah,
example, Veronica, like she has been very oppressive in not the latest beta because she got quite heavily nerfed. Now she's back to almost her former glory,
yeah,
with her like buff sharing not being a 50% anymore.
yeah.
That
It's
should
gone
bring
back
her
to
back to
100%.
meta. Yes, and the second skills scaling is quite insane because you used to stack her with as much HP as possible, and then she deals true damage to everything from a portion of her max HP. So it's gonna be very strong, as Ilka said, against Rahu,
Yeah,
for
she
example, that
also has
has.
shields. She has her own buff, which is Soul Ward, which what it does, it lasts one turn and is applied by her ultimate, and it doesn't let your HP go below 1 point. So basically, what she does is make you immune for one turn, which is something that you also can play around.
Invincible.
Yeah, for example, if your opponent, like I don't know if there's any particular case of these right now, but if your opponent goes for a comp where he has a slow but tanky DPS that just want to one-shot everything when it's his turn or something of that sort, like you can just play her and just, even if she's low, that's fine. She's not gonna be as fast as some other characters, but as soon as she gets her turn, if she takes it before the opponent's DPS, like you cannot die until you take your next turn. So whatever they do, they cannot kill your characters. So unless
Also, if you
they are
go for a
dispelled in the
slower,
same move, I guess. But yeah,
sure, but you can also use her as like if you go for a slower comp, but she's faster, you can
yeah,
just
yeah,
make your own DPS with bulwark, for example, not die. So you can
yeah,
keep your Messiah, your Xiada, your Rilmoka, whatever DPS you want to one-shot with. Like you can keep your team safe. If you go, like you make hers fast, everything else is just for normal build, like with damage, whatever. You don't particular fast. If the enemy doesn't have a strip or dispel for your team, then you can just not die and then do your comp when it's actually your turn again if you have the immunity from bulwark.
yeah. And
So
again,
you
like
can do a lot of different things with it.
yeah, And against Messiah as well, she's really good because you can, if he gets the ultimate
Yeah.
off and he becomes invulnerable, you can steal the invulnerability and spread it to your whole team, which is kind of strong, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that happen in the beta, like the
The
closed
earlier
beta,
beta,
where
yeah.
the yeah, in that tournament, some Rogneka stole Messiah's invulnerability for 2 turns pretty much, and they
Well,
couldn't do anything then.
yeah, if that happens, you win the game or lose the game depending on which side you are. But yeah,
Yeah.
it,
So it's a lot of characters you can actually use. Like support characters doesn't mean you cannot use them as a sub damage dealer. Some of them, if you go for the longer sustain matches and the enemy doesn't have sustain, if you can just outlast their waves of damage, you will eventually most likely win, depending on how much damage and how badly
yeah. For
like one of you
example,
guys draft.
one of the characters that I don't see used that much in the beta, I haven't seen used yet, but she's probably better as the game goes on, is Tsukiyomi. Like, she is one of the support characters that you don't actually need that much um, effect accuracy. If you like don't want to go for it, you don't really need to have it. Like, you will lose some of um, the chance to inflict the silence on her skill too, but it's like like something that you can do. You can sacrifice a bit of silence chance, but then you can build her defense, and her skill 2 hits everyone for defense, and her skill 1 hits for defense percent. So she can actually be enough damage dealer just by building defense, which also makes her tankier. So she just needs speed, and she needs either defense or effect accuracy. But if you go for defense, she not only becomes tankier as a support, but she also, again, deals quite a bit of damage. Like her 320% of defense is almost as much as Rahu. It's like old Rahu numbers, but she does this AoE with her skill too, which is yeah.
Yeah.
And again, also has a chance to silence all of the enemies and also reduces all of the skill CDs for all allies by 1 turn. So yeah, she's
Yeah,
very
she's a very
versatile.
good character. She
Yeah.
can work in pretty much any comp.
Yeah, what I was trying to say is that like she's a support, but she also can deal damage. Like don't like take characters for like if this is a support, they won't deal damage at all. That's not how it works. Like another example might be Hellkid, for example. Like Hellkid, I mean most people know this, but Hellkid deals a lot of damage because he wants to stack attack for his shroud barriers. He gives immunity. He's
Yeah.
basically a support, but he also deals damage with the attack he's stacking for his barriers. So yeah, it's like characters are not one-dimensional at all in this game. So you might just want to test out stuff before you actually see what a character does and what a character doesn't. Like, don't underestimate damage from supports. Like Freya's ultimate is another example. Like that deals a lot of damage.
And also don't just go looking at tier list and think, okay, these are the best units. I will just pick them. They will work. Because
Yeah.
most people will also do that if you think about RTA. Like if you go up 2 people equal skill level, both people just go from the top tier units, don't really think about their comps. They will probably first pick the one thing you wanted to pick, and then you have less things to pick immediately because both are going for the same top tier units, for example. This was my biggest win in the beta because never used Tiamat because everyone were just so hyped up about her. So I just made my comp be ready for versing a Tiamat every single match, and it worked. Like I didn't play that many matches, but I had like 20 wins, 3 losses, and yeah, like just
Yeah.
knowing the Tiamat is coming. Like the 3 matches I lost was they picked my damage dealers. I didn't have damage because I was lacking them as well. I built too many supports. That was pretty much like my losses was, oh shit, I lost to, they actually picked the units I had built.
Yeah, I feel like Tiamat is not gonna be as scary now as in the beta. For one, she was nerfed, and since she was, people will probably like think twice about getting her now. So she's probably gonna be less common, I guess, in the in the full release of the
Yeah.
game, but even then she is probably like she's not bad at all in PvP now. She's just gonna be a bit worse.
I mean, she's probably more balanced now.
Yeah. Like she still does what she wants to do, which is her passive that reduces damage on all the other characters on your team. She takes the damage for them, and since she's stacking HP, she probably has the amount of health to spare. Like she probably works well with Rahu, for example. Like she probably goes well with him as well. Like they both want to go for a longer game where you don't get one shot and just outlive the opponents and out damage them over time. Like that's another two character combo that you might want to go for. Like they probably work well together.
Yeah.
And also again,
I
like
just
if Rahu is banned, you still have Tiamat for damage, and if Tiamat is banned, you still have Rahu for damage. It's like
yeah.
I feel
I
like
just
Rahu is kind of an hybrid. He's more of a DPS, but he's also like a support unit in a way because he gives defense up and
oh
he
yeah,
also gives
and
defense down to opponents. Yeah.
also the shells you want for him also gives like
Yeah.
your team a shield based on his defense, and increases his defense before it. So he gives a big ass shield to people, and he will just help a lot. Like he deals a lot of damage, but he also makes your team survive things.
Yeah.
And having him on brambles is very fun as well. I did that in the beta. He
Yeah.
killed many people in PvP.
Like Ramble is really good on Rahu. Probably also gives the defense which Rahu craves. So it's
Yes.
double as good on him.
And they also used, like, if they have a defense break already from, like, for example, you assist with him, he defense breaks something, they AoE, you attack again, then they're already defense broken, and you will probably just send a nuke their way and
Yeah,
delete them.
just one thing that I want to stress out with Bramble is that Bramble is a good option, but it's one of the 8 sets, and you might want to use your 8 eventually, like this is end game talk. But since you have one 12 set, one 8 set, and one 6 set that you can use at the same time, unless you sacrifice your 12 set, which is gonna be a choice that you have to make, I guess. But you can, if you have Bramble, you usually don't have Bulwark then, because Bulwark is another 8 out of 8 set, which means that unless you sacrifice your 12 set, you cannot have both.
I
So,
mean, you don't really
yeah.
need a 12 set, particularly. It can be better with the actual immunity in Bramble
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
winning
It's
games.
just
But that's
something that you
all
have to
down to
take.
testing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Something that you have to take into account. And again, like if you go for an 8 set, then I think I am actually like not sure about what I'm gonna say right now, but I think you can go 3 8 sets that should work. Like it's not something that you want to do every time. It's probably like most character would want say 12 Swift Rush or something like that. But you can go with 8 sets, like with 3 8 sets on some characters and get away with it. Like it's probably
Depends
something
what
that
your
you can
shell
do.
has.
Yeah, if
The
your shell
shell,
has 3 8 sets, but I don't think I don't know. I'm actually
yeah.
gonna yeah, I don't know if it can happen, but if it can, it's something that you like. The sets are not set in stone. Like, keep in mind that you can have different options and test stuff around. Like, 12 sets are good, but they're not the end all be all of the game. Like, Swift Rush is really good, but like Rahu wouldn't want Swift Rush, for example, or Tiamat wouldn't want Swift Rush, for example, usually, unless you go for something weird or something interesting, some
It's all
some
about
yeah.
your strategy. Like you
Yeah,
can go for a
exactly.
Swift Rahu as well. It could probably work. It's just down to how you build around it yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Zwiftrau sounds like you're not using everything you can about him, but sure, go for it. Like, he's attacking with other characters, but he's also attacking himself. Like, he does like 20 attacks per turn. Whatever. Go for it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Can work.
yeah, can
Have
work.
fun with it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh, I had, if you go back to the characters, I have a wild thing I want to talk about, and it's fungus.
Fangus.
Fungus,
Where is he?
yes,
Yeah,
there. Um,
DOT boy.
so if you go for a slower team, you could also use him as a like a super tanky DPS, because he will just, if the enemy doesn't have cleanse or heal, if you see that and you have him built as a tanky unit in the background, he also assists when the people attack,
Yeah.
and he deals the DOT damage. So it could be a very fun thing to do. Just absolutely like have him as a tank. You have a lot of sustain, because and the enemy does not have sustain, or you ban it. You pick him like last, and then you stack dots with everything till the enemy dies. That could be a very
I
fun
mean,
thing to do.
just
But
one thing about this. For one, if you want to go for this, you need his skill 2 to be leveled up, because at level 1 it has 25% chance to follow up, and
I
at
mean,
level
yes,
max it has 50%. So if you try this strategy with 25% chance, it might not work. Might be super hard
yeah,
to get into
many
assist.
people
Yeah.
might build him for PvE, because if they get Shadow Sanya,
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
example,
for sure.
he is
If you
one of the
have him
best
built.
damage dealer with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have him built, you will have him skilled up, because he is an SR unit. Uh, and like he don't need damage, because he has the true damage with DOT. So you
And
can
he's
just go
pretty
with
fast
him
as
as a
well.
bruiser as
Yeah.
well. Is he?
Yeah, he's pretty fast. He's 125 base.
Oh yeah, that's quite nice. Yeah, so you could just have him there with your slow sustain team, and then just keep stacking the dots towards the enemy, and then eventually they will just die because they don't have heal. It could be a fun thing to do. I'm not sure if it's the best or a good option even, but it's a
Yeah, yeah.
fun thought to have and think about.
Yeah, and again, like he also has AoE speed down on his ultimate, which is pretty good in PvP, so
I mean, yeah,
it's not
that's
something
actually
that you
not a
ever.
bad debuff.
Yeah.
So
I
there's
mean,
just if you don't care about high ranks or like the highest of the ranks or joining the World Cup and stuff like that, I would say just have fun with it. Try different stuff.
yeah.
If
And
you
again,
could even get high rank with it because people are not expecting it, and
yeah,
unexpected,
exactly. That's
like the
something that's.
unexpected,
Yeah.
yeah, the surprise factor rather is something you can get far with. Like always have a good last pick as a surprise factor that could win you the games because people don't expect it.
One thing that I would call out for PvP is that something that is probably going to be more popular after day 7 in regular PvP, but it's something that you might want to take in mind for your RTA start of journey. Sanya and Linglao is a combo that's amazing for two main reasons. Linglao and Sanya as a combo. Like for one, it was used in the tournament a lot, so if people have watched the tournament, they would know that it's a good combo for PvP to get both of these characters. The main two reasons are, for one, they give you a lot of sustain, and even if the opponent bans one of them, you still have the other one, so you still have a sustain character for your team. For two, it denies your opponent the chance to pick a healer, and they would have to go for another healer, which might be hard for them since at the start of the game you might not have other healers built. Like in the tournament, they would use, say, Chiaki to counter this combo. Like Mia could also work, but not everyone will have Mia and not everyone would have Chiaki built. So be very careful if you go for a first pick that's not one of the two and you only have those two healer built, then you might be denied healers, which again, like it's not something that you have to have a healer, just take it into account. Like, what happens if they pick both of the healers and I don't have any healer built left after them? Like, what happens if I pick like Heinrich first because I really like Heinrich, say, or I mean he's good in PvP. So, and again, like picking both of them against him is probably not the best since he has um, a healing stop. But let's just say they do that. Like, what do you do now? You have Heinrich, but you have no access to any more healers. Have you lost already? No, you haven't. You just need to flex around the fact that you won't have an healer. So this means that you probably won't be able to out-sustain your opponent in a long battle because they have healers and you don't. So what do you want to do? You want to out-damage them at the start? Do you have a DPS that's strong enough to do that? Then go for it. Then do you if you have a DPS that's strong enough to do that, then do you even want to ban a healer? You might want to ban, I don't know, say a really fast support character that the opponent has so that you try to cleave them and go faster than them and just kill them before they get a turn to act. Because in a long battle, you might lose since they have the healers. Like, these are choices that you have to take into account. It's like no game is settled or not no game, I guess, but most games are not settled on draft. And no game is actually, this I can say for sure, no game is settled on first pick. Like, you don't first pick a character and they pick your healers away and you're like, okay, I lost, I have no healer. You don't need a healer for PvP if you go for the right comp. Like, if they pick two healers and then you try to go for, say, Hoyan or a team to out-sustain them, and you have, or not Hoyan, sorry, Shiada to out-sustain them, and you don't have another healer to pick, you're probably gonna not do that well unless you have, like, say, Hellkey then out-sustain them. But again, like, don't try and go for don't try and go for a static comp and never change your mind around. Like, you have to adapt to situations. Like, no character has only one role in one comp. All characters are flexible. You just need to realize when to switch things around. Like, if they go for that kind of comp with super sustain that they want to outlead you, what if you just one-shot them? What if you just don't let them take their turns? If you ban their fast support and don't let them act, and just say Mervel could work for that, for example. Like, if you have a fast Mervel, try and outspeed them and just push them back and then kill them before they get to act. Or a Mio could work, or a Kraken
Unless
could
they have
work
bulwark.
as well. Unless they have bulwark, in which case you want more damage. You might want to go for 2 or 3 even DPS. Like, if you have faster DPS, they're going for a slow comp, say, and you have faster DPS, you might be able to just get your, if you know your 3 DPS are close in speed, you might be able to also um, assume that your 3 DPS are going to go before their DPS. And if they do go before their DPS, you might get 3 attacks in a row and just kill them through damage. Like, 3 DPS might work to just straight up kill them before they get to act.
It's also worth considering what shells they have, because I'm not sure if you see that in the draft select, but Gigabyte can
That's actually a
really
good
mess
question.
up. I think you can see their shells when they pick the character, but I'm not too sure. But
You
that's
might be
also a good
able
thing
to, but
keep in
if it is,
mind.
yeah.
Gigabyte can really mess up a cleave comp or a damage dealing comp. So it's
Yeah.
very wise, if I just add a bit to what Ilka said. Like, if you have Heinrich, they go for sustain. You might go for a Viper, like if both of them are fast, so you have 2 dispellers. And then you go for like 2 crowd control units or something like that, because both Viper and Heinrich deals damage while doing the dispelling. Then you have like 1 or 2 control units, like Mio Kraken, Marvel Kraken, Obol. Also has a dispel, so you could use him as one of this, like those as well. And then just go for damage late, so you can pretty much control the fight to your advantage.
Yeah.
And hopefully
For
whittle them
people
down.
who don't know, by the way, Gigabyte is a shell that says for every 3 actions accumulated by enemy units, increase the owner's turn meter by 35% up to once per turn, which means that it actually lets you cut in through your opponent's comp. Like, if they go for faster characters, you might cut through since your owner is pushed whenever they take too many actions in a row. This really helps to stop really fast comp, since you can just like, for example, say you have a dispeller that goes or a cleanser, I guess. I don't know how you would say, like a own team dispeller. Like, if they try to set up on your team and just debuff them and then stop them from acting, you just use Gigabyte. You get pushed up and you can stop their combo while they're trying to set up. And yeah, is how Gigabyte works. You just get to cut through the opponents and what they're doing.
Yeah.
I
Unless
was
they are
just
CC'd.
specifying, yeah. Yeah, unless you're CC'd, of course.
But then if you also go for control, then they might have Alicorn, which just removes the control effect instead. So like,
Yeah.
you have to consider more than just the actual units, because like they could not be frozen, for example, if they have Alicorn, but you can still control their turn meter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
just
something else.
dispels 2 debuffs and increase effect resistance
Yeah,
by 25% for each debuff dispelled.
yeah. So I mean, you have to consider all the things in the game, not just the units you pick and the units the enemy pick. Because if you like, okay, I'm going all damage dealers, like you're just gonna nuke them all. Everyone is on Swift Rush. I don't need
Yeah,
a
yeah.
buffer or a pusher. You still might lose because they might cut in, heal up, or they might have bloodbath modules to reduce damage taken, and they can out sustain your waves. Like if there's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many different factors to game, so you
Yeah,
have
exactly.
the best practice is actually playing and losing and looking back at what can I do different or why did I lose this? And okay, I lost this because Gigabyte like procced for the enemy. They healed up, I couldn't kill them, and I didn't have sustain.
Yeah.
Try to figure out those things. I think that's the
It's like
one of the best things to do.
you want to be as flexible as possible while playing RTA. Like you want to be reactive to what your opponent does, and you have to uh, be reactive to like changes in the meta. For example, like say there's a period in which everyone is using I don't know, bulwarks, so crowd controls might not be as good, so you might not want to use your Marvel. Maybe you have a great Marvel, I don't know, change your gear, your Marvel gear to someone else. Since everyone is using bulwark, you might as well not have him, since you cannot even use control on anyone. So you might just change your gear up and move it to another character and test them out at that time. Like even just choices like meta is continuously changing as the game goes through its stages. Like uh, nothing is stays meta forever in games like this. Like you have to flex around with what is good and what is not based on what the other people are playing. Like if there's a meta in which players are playing comps that wanna outlive you and like everyone is playing cleave, then someone starts playing things to outlive you with bloodbath that stops you from getting one shot, then you might want to switch up and play something that outlives them, or say I don't know, Viper that lets you I'm just gonna go over to Viper just so that but like Viper lets you debuff them. So if they're trying to set up
Right.
some buffs for long game and still get counters off and go for a longer game, like try to be flexible even outside of the game. Like even in before you even start champ select, you can be flexible. Like move your gear around to characters that will help you more in these situations. It's like you don't have to reset your characters every week and just change everything up every week, but keep in mind that like um, some characters might be better in first and second pick because they're safer. Like if you want to be safe, you might pick a Sanya, for example. Sanya is generally good most of the time, or like even a Messiah, for example. Messiah is generally good most of the time. Like he can be flexed into many different comps. Like characters like that can be first pick without much of a thought. Like you're never gonna go wrong with one of those, if that makes sense. It's like don't go and pick a Shadow Sanya as your first pick, for example. She might not be the best. Like Shadow Sanya as a first pick tells your opponent that you want to go dot. It's like it's telling of what you want to do to your opponent, so they might prepare to go around it. And again, even if you then switch around, what are you using the Sanya for? Like if you only pick her and then you pivot around because your opponent is trying to counter her, if he's not gonna ban her because he has her counter, then what are you doing with her? Like you only have a Shadow Sanya with no other support in the game. Like that doesn't work. Your first pick, or your even if you are on the second pick side, your first and second pick of the game, like they should be things that are very flexible and very open choices, so that they don't force you into certain kind of comps, so that you can adapt to the game. Like if you have
I will
something
just stop
that's
you
very
here now, Ilka. You
oh,
are
yeah,
rambling on about the same things for a long time, so
yeah, yeah.
I will I will cut you off here, sorry. But
Marcus has
we are
Gigabyte IRL.
what?
He
Yes.
just cut me because I took
Yes, I
more
cut
than
you
three
off.
turns. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I think the point has been
Yeah. Point
proven
has been
now.
made.
The point has been made exactly, and we're also getting quite far in this podcast. I
Oh
just
yeah.
realized I think we should actually round this out.
Yeah. And I was the one that
But
wanted to have a
yes,
shorter episode.
that's why I cut you off now, because
Yeah.
yeah, you have made the point, and you get very intense sometimes when you get into a subject. So
I
we're here to
don't.
help each
I
other.
don't.
But yes, I hope it was insightful and you got something out of it in the end. And as always, Ilka says, if you watch to this end, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed. And if you do have any other topics or character specifics you want to talk about, let us know in the comments as well.
Yeah. I have my characteristic question of the day. What are your favorite RTA characters, or rather, what have you, like, whenever you see this video and you listen to this question, if you do, what is a character that you have played in RTA that has really surprised you? Like, not that is performed the best necessarily, but what has really surprised you in RTA that you thought it wouldn't work, but then it worked really well? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Hopefully we next week, when the game is released, we will hopefully be able to have some more interesting topics to talk about when we have gotten into the game again, played more. I will be pushing PvP quite hard because I am trying to join the EVS or the World Champions, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I think Ilka is not trying, but he will still be pushing quite hard, I think, in
Yeah,
PvP.
I'm kind of busy in this period of time with my IRL life, so I'm not gonna try too hard to go for World Tournament yet, but I will see. If I keep liking the game as I am, I might try and be more competitive in the future, who knows. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you all for listening to us, Jap, once again. And
Yeah.
I hope your summons will be amazing during the release tomorrow.
Yeah. Good luck everyone with your summons.
Until next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.